There we go. And wait another minute just to make sure people are coming on. Hey, what's up? How are you? I again, the apologies, had a couple of internet issues that I had to deal with, and I'm very happy to be here. This is one of the first lives I'm going to do. I know there's, as people come on, I'll continue, but of course, a lot of this will be saved. Obviously, this live will be brief, it will be short, and it will also be saved in order for people to see it going into the future. Lots of things to talk about, man. Last night, I had to do, of course, some radio work. I do news bulletins, for syndicated radio, in addition to doing football. And I just got curious, and I started watching the FIFA Congress on its live stream, and it was interesting to see a lot of topics. Now, the political end, I'm not going to get into. There's no, I mean, it might be good for another episode in terms of seeing where FIFA is going to go in terms of maybe dealing with things like the Israeli FA and all that. Of course, that's something that is interesting to look at. But there was two things. There were two things that ended up really kind of intriguing me in terms of how FIFA are looking at in terms of the selection of different World Cup venues and how they're looking to change the anti-corruption reform that was done back in, I think, around 2015, 2016, all after FIFA Gate, of course. How things are looking to be changed and how that path can end up being a slippery slope for FIFA, knowing the problems and the controversies that all of those issues end up leading, and the controversies that are still emerging, especially going into 2034. So I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same in terms of FIFA from that perspective. The racism one ends up being very interesting, and of course you'll have a chance to watch the video where I have a couple of questions being asked in terms of that, and I have three questions that I'm going to be answering, and of course, every you can put questions. You can even leave them here in the comments section, and when I pick them out, I'll see if I can answer them in that segment that I will be having around every 2 maybe 3 weeks, depending on demand. It could be more, so it all depends on what I end up getting in terms of content that I will start doing. Hey, if I get enough content to be able to do two, maybe three, or maybe one a week, that'd be great. That'd be phenomenal. I'd love to be able to do that. To me, it's one of those favorite kind of unplugged type of segments that you can end up kind of doing and freestyling it a little bit, if you will. So that happened. But the one topic that kind of intrigued me is what FIFA is looking to do in terms of what they want to implement in terms of suspending or even forfeiting a match due to racism. I was asked earlier today about that, and that ended up being an interesting conversation to delve into. I didn't delve into it because obviously it was something that was asked on X. I just gave my answer. I said, I'm not 100% agreeing with it, but then again, I don't have a solution for it. Well, okay, give me something better. Like when you let me change it a little bit and not be so social or social political about it. When even they talk about football, well, how do we resolve a game in terms of breaking a tie, in terms of being able to find a winner. No, because I don't like penalties, because I don't like this. I don't have a better solution. The better solution is to keep them playing until tomorrow, I guess. But is that a healthy and practical reason? No, it's not. I don't have a solution. Therefore, the solution that is there is probably the best or maybe a better idea than what I have. Now, switching back to the social political end, uh, again, FIFA puts out this. I don't have a better solution for it. Therefore, what is being proposed is a better idea than what I have. And it ends up being exactly that throughout the past few years. If you don't have a better solution, then, it is what it is. If you do, then propose one. I can't. And adding to that point, well, drastic behaviors do pretty much require the need for drastic implementations. Why not? Now, let's understand that if a team is winning 4-0 and they start to completely humiliate the other side and start using racial epithets to do that, I think that would be something. It would have the fans think twice. Okay, if your team is winning and you're what is great? How do I say this? What is greater, or the greater of all forces within your mind as a person? Now, then, of course, you can apply it collectively as well. What is greater? Your love for the team and your desire to see them win, or your utter disgust for the opposition or for a person because of the reasons that people do the things they do? You don't have fans thinking, oh, you know what? I'm not going to have that attitude in a football stadium, knowing that my team's winning, or if my team's losing, or if something's at stake. I'm not going to go do that. That sounds ridiculous. Or at least someone with something between the ears would say. I don't know of a fan that would want to harm their team in any way, shape, or form. Of course, picking out that particular scenario, or even picking out any scenario, because you don't want your team to lose. But at times, fans don't understand that they could be the reason that they have their team in a precarious situation, because they support, because they're the ones that invest money, time, whatever, merchandise, everything. That ends up being something very interesting to talk about going forward. How much blame do the fans get as well? Because their behaviors and their social upbringing end up really creating these situations and these reactions by FIFA. Now, I'm not saying let's go FIFA. I'm not saying that. But this time around, maybe there is a need for that, because people aren't learning. People don't have the social education that or the social footballing etiquette, stadium etiquette, to go into a stadium and act like a civilized human being. So, to me, I'm completely on board with that. And we'll see where it takes us, because it can end up going. Like I say, with everything, with every new rule, it's how it's implemented, it's how it's enforced. Because, I hear it a lot when I'm doing commentary for Mexican football. You hear the chant all the time. You hear it in some stadiums, but some stadium announcers are very slick. When they hear it, they have the music ready to go, so it kind of drowns it out, or kind of muffles it a bit. So, we tried to block it out. In several broadcasts, even they kind of mute the microphones. Okay, let's turn off the microphone. But then they forget that sometimes the commentators in the stadium and the noise goes through the comment. Happened to me. A lot of times you'd hear it, and I was in the stadium, and they would be yelling it through you'd pick it up from my microphone. So what do you do? What do you do? It'll be interesting, because, again, it depends on the referees. It depends on the match commissioners. It depends on how desperately they have to get this match through, because let's say it does happen and the match needs to be played and it has to be stopped. Where does that situation put the referee / match, or not the referee alone, but also the match commissioner, everyone coordinating that particular match? That's where things end up getting a little bit slippery. We'll see. It's interesting. I'm all for it for now. And then, of course, going back and there's a video, you can check it out, that I did about VAR in the Premier League, of switching subjects. VAR in the Premier League, and what it's, of course, looking to do is scrapping everything they did. To me, I don't know if that's a bright idea, because the refereeing is in dire need of VAR. Now, the implementation of VAR ends up being a completely different story. How referees use VAR, that's a whole different issue. That's a whole different issue, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, I'll have more on that. Of course, I got to go on Sportsbacks and talk about this. So I kind of start, having the neurons click a little bit more in terms of my argument. But there have been a lot of controversies. There have been a lot of ways in which and issues. And to me, the problem is not VAR. To me, the problem is the people using it. the people in front of the screen, the people using it. That's the problem. That's the problem, folks. The referees are the problem. It's not VAR. You give me a top-level computer and I don't know how to use it. It's not the computer's fault it doesn't work right. It's me. Okay? You give me a Formula One car to drive and I crash it into the wall. It's not the car's fault that it crashed into the wall. It's my fault because I didn't know how to drive it well. I didn't know how to take that curve. I didn't know how to keep it in the, where I needed to keep it. I didn't know how to make my turns right. It's not the car's fault. It's the referee's fault. And of course, let's go even deeper than that. It's the way the referees are treated, because there's rarely any accountability publicly. Yeah, the referees are criticized on television, absolutely. But there's no accountability. Most of the referees go and skate, oh, you screwed up. Okay, no problem. Keep in mind, if a player ends up screwing up the way referees do a lot of times, players end up getting benched, or players end up getting cut, or players end up getting their contracts rescinded. Referees don't. A lot of times. You have to screw up very badly for you as a referee to end up losing your job or doing something very, very, very unethical, something along those lines. So there's that. At least that's where I'm looking at from. There needs to be a change in terms of referees. There needs to be a fresh blood in terms of referees, because they're not so... At times, there's some, okay? Let me not try and put everyone in the same bag. But at times they're very contaminated of themselves. That them thinking they are the absolute truth and they are the only truth, and that, VAR doesn't matter, because you have so many different interpretations of the same action that depending on which game or who's reffing you, then, that ends up being something that no one really can control. As a player, you go in a certain way. In one match, nothing happens. In another one, you can end up getting a straight red card. So what gives? So you need to have fresh blood in terms of referees. Referees that are willing and capable of not only just implementing universal notions of rules, but also referees implementing universal notions of protocols. And also understanding game situations and also understanding game context, which many don't. But keep in mind, there have been a lot of former players that have insisted and have proposed that former players get involved in VAR. I'm a big proponent of that, because the player can explain to you certain things. Now, can we get mashed up in a big conundrum again? Maybe. But conundrums early on are good, because it ends up ironing out certain... It's better to iron out things now than to iron out things later when everything's well established. That would be the issue. And I think that would be the way to go. But that's just me. Keep in mind, I want to... I think it would be a great exercise, to be honest with you. Let's get rid of VAR. Let's get rid of VAR. And then see how the calls come in. And see how the fouls occur, and see how the offsides are not called anymore, or how a goal that actually should have been allowed isn't. Let me see how that happens. Let me see how quickly people are going to be reacting. So, we need VAR back. That would be something I'd love to see. I'd love it. I hope that they scrap VAR in the Premier League, because then those controversial calls that were reversed or weren't reversed, or should have been reversed and weren't, or were reversed and shouldn't, we'll see how quickly people are going to be asking for VAR back. It's possible. Why not? We'll see. Anyways, folks, like I said, I was going to keep this one short. I'm going to be answering questions. I'm going to be doing all types of stuff here. Make sure you check this out. I had a couple of takes that I wanted to give. This will be a little bit longer going towards the future. And do not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if in the very near future I start doing game commentary here. Now, I need your help. I surely do need your help. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I hate to ask, or I hate to do it. Not that it's just that I do it to offer you something, to offer you a different notion, to offer you different looks and takes and things of that nature. So I don't deserve anything. I do. It's always appreciated. If you like, that's great. If you subscribe, it's even better. Trust me, I'd love to be able to get as close as possible to or the most amount of people possible here. And like I said, it helps me out to be able to do different things that I would not be able to do elsewhere, that I can go and talk about certain issues, that I could go into certain places and talk about certain issues or certain topics, and also go to different places and cover things with you that I wouldn't be able to do if I have to wait for someone to tell me to go do so. So, of course, everything is always appreciated. Just a like, just a subscription, just sharing, just, hey, look, this guy, you might be interested. Or look, what this guy, he has no clue what he's talking about. Hey, bud, check this out. Look at this idiot. I don't know, something like that. It's always appreciated. So leave comments, do all those types of things. Like I said, you don't have to. If you watch, that's great. I appreciate someone coming in and just even paying attention. It's great. You know, I'm grateful for that. Always been grateful for that. So, like I said, check it out. And I'll have some cool promotions for people on YouTube exclusively. So keep that also in the back of your mind, because I'll have some giveaways. I'll have some promotions that are going to be strictly for YouTube as well. So make sure that you are checking it out on a consistent basis. Okay, guys? Talk to you soon. Ciao.